It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city joined forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Cats Talk Wednesday. Man, getting tongue-tied to jump. Not how you want to start it. My name is Vinny Hardy. This is Cats Talk Wednesday. My man Terry T.B. Brown. A little bit under the weather. Not going to be on for this episode. So y'all know Terry's Twitter. Send him a little tweet. Tell him what's up. And tell him you hope to hear from him next week. Definitely hope you're feeling better, TB. This is take 2 on this episode. Had a little audio self-inflicted errors, unforced errors, operator errors, call them what you want, on the previous recording. So I'm going to come in kind of real quick and hit the highlights of what I was just saying to myself that didn't make it to the recording on the last episode. But plenty of stuff to talk about. As always, it's that time of year now where everything is popping off. Man, the other day you had all 4 sports playing games: NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, which you get that from time to time. This time of year, everybody is in season. You got college football going. Basketball's about to start. We'll start real quick with the basketball because Kentucky basketball had Big Blue Bandits a couple weeks ago. Just had the blue-white game over in Pikeville. Now, the blue-white game is always a few days after Big Blue Bandits, a week or two. But this time, unlike all the previous years, which have usually been in Rupp Arena as well, and it's always a more competitive game. It's not just a dunk fest like Madness is. But this time it was moved to Pikeville, Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, to help with the victims where all the flooding had taken place. Now, that's right over there in my neck of the woods. Y'all know I'm from Eastern Kentucky. A lot of counties right close to where I'm from, which is Harlan County, but Letcher County, Perry County, Clay County, Pike County, Knott County, a lot of those counties, communities right around where I'm from were really, really hit and devastated by the flooding. And just to let them know that they hadn't forgot about those areas, they moved the game over there to Pikeville. A brand new arena over there where U-Pike is at. Pikeville is growing. So I said it weeks ago when you knew that this was a possibility to have the game in different places out throughout the state. Got the new arena in Pikeville. Corbin's got a nice arena. Owensboro, Paducah, somewhere like that. You move it to a different area of the state. No disrespect to Lexington because everybody loves it. But you go out and about in the state, people are going to line up out the door to see the Cats because they are not normally in that part of the state. And the game started Saturday at 6. And Cameron Mills and Dick Gabriel were on the broadcast, and they got to Pikeville at 3, and they were already people lined up deep to get in to the arena to watch the blue-white game. And at halftime, they stopped and let everybody know how much money had been raised. Over $162,000, $162,450 was raised for Eastern Kentucky. So it was a win-win-win all the way around. Got to see the Cats there. People got to see Oscar Sheboy, who didn't play, but Sheboy and Damian Collins and Sophie Wheeler, everybody you see on TV, every single game that we tune in to watch, now they're here in your city, Pikeville. They're right there in Eastern Kentucky, close to your neck of the woods. So it was a treat for everybody. And then on top of that, you had Mike McGuire, the coal miner, who went straight from work, took his 3-year-old son, Easton, to the game. Still had coal dust on him, still had his uniform on. Wasn't able to get home, take a shower, and clean up before he went to the game because he ended up having to work later than he thought he would have to. Took the picture of him there enjoying the game. And that went viral. Coach Cal saw it. Coach Cal's grandfather worked in the coal mines in Pennsylvania, and Cal wanted to reach out and meet him and the family. Finally able to get a hold of him, gonna give him some VIP tickets and dinner, and uh, they get to come up for the Kansas game, get to meet the team, get to see it shoot around. So it just really worked out. Um, all kinds of news outlets been talking to his wife, and uh, he had been underground working in the mine, came out, and foam blowing up, and his coworkers are clapping for him. And Cal Tucker had a great article in the Athletic, kind of chronicling the whirlwind that they had experienced since that picture had come out. That hit home for not just Cal, but a lot of people from Kentucky, particularly Eastern Kentucky. Both of my grandfathers worked in the coal mines. Um, my dad's dad retired before I was born, but he worked 35 years in the coal mines. Um, moved from Alabama to Kentucky as a teenager because the coal mines were booming, and was able to make a living for his family. And my mom's mom worked 40 years in the coal mines. My granddaddy, Seaboat, as they called him, retired in '89. I was about 12, and he retired from the mines. My granddaddy on my dad's side, Mr. Big Timer, everybody called him, worked 35 years. So I'm the grandson of two coal miners. My dad worked in and around the mines as well. He worked at the warehouse for a lot of the mines. I went down and been under the mines myself, kind of like Cal. Didn't work in the mines, but have been under there and seen what it's like, and high coal, low coal, been in there as well. So when you grow up where I grew up, you see guys coming straight out of work. Maybe to pick the kids up at school, or it's Friday night for a football game. Uh, in the grocery store, picking up some groceries before they go home, or whatever it is. You see guys straight out the mines, still with the coal dust on them. So seeing Mike McGuire like that, it did kind of resonate with a lot of us. My sister tweeted out, our dad would have been at the game the same way, would have had his UK hat on and rushed to be there just like Mike did. So really cool that they get to experience that and go to the Kansas game, and made that memory with his little boy. So it was really cool how that all worked out. And from the game, as far as the game goes, you did have those guys who were injured. Oscar Tshiebwe, Lance Ware, Severe Wheeler, uh, nicks and bumps and bruises, nothing alarming or out of the ordinary. They're all going to be ready to go, but just got banged up a little bit, which happens. And Cameron Mills was detailing that on the broadcast. It's just all part of getting ready for a season. So nothing to be alarmed about, even though those guys did not play in the blue-white game. The season will be here before we know it, and once again, just glad that it did take place in Pikeville, as well as they move it to Corbin or other parts of the state. It'll still be a hit in those areas as well. Kentucky, Tennessee football this coming Saturday. Kentucky's coming off the bye, just beating Mississippi State. Hope to have some momentum. Hope to have all the pieces in place because they're 5-2, but remember before the season started, they were kind of getting all that hype like Tennessee, who's going to challenge Georgia, who's going to be second in the East, who's going to maybe knock Georgia off, things like that. And you can't convince me that Kentucky doesn't have the pieces. Now, the offensive line wasn't what we thought. It hasn't been the big blue wall we've become accustomed to. It looked better in the second half against Mississippi State. Maybe they can kind of start to click, get a little continuity, feel good about watching some film. C-Rod is back. Levis, the tight ends, maybe Scangarello can now have his full offense and attack Tennessee the way he hopes and have the offense go the way we hope. Maybe special teams can be the way we hope because, Tennessee is off and running. They beat Alabama. They're undefeated. They're playing well, firing on all cylinders. Hopefully Kentucky can do the same. Will it surprise me if Kentucky goes to Knoxville and wins? No. But We just got to see him put that entire game together. We haven't quite seen it yet. Got to start fast too. We've seen him get down against Florida. There was a deficit they overcame. Against Ole Miss, there was a deficit they overcame and should have won. Um, Procedure call that wiped out the Dane Key touchdown. Um, Special teams had issues against Ole Miss. So we just need to see a complete game, ball control, heavy doses of C-Rod running at the Vols, get the tight ends involved. Maybe they can catch some passes and not just have to stay in and block. Give Levis time. We've seen him hit deep passes when he has time. Remember the post to Dane Key in the swamp at Florida? When he has time, maybe he can connect, hit Tennessee with that balance attack, that ball control, dominate the clock just like Lexington, but you got to try to limit them with all that quick strike, explosive stuff that they do. Kentucky dominated time possession and still lost 45-42 in Lexington. The pick six was a killer. Similar recipe, just execute a little bit better. I was on a radio show in Chattanooga today, and between TB and myself, y'all know I usually kind of pick with my head a little bit more. TB picks with his heart. I pick with my heart. I'm picking Kentucky 40, Tennessee 37 when the dust settles Saturday night in Knoxville. So I went on the record and said that earlier today. I'm sticking with it on here, of course. No reason for me to waver. I'm going to say it again later on Believe in Kentucky. I'm saying Kentucky 40, Tennessee 37. If they put together a complete game, they can do it. There are a lot of people not giving Kentucky a chance. Tennessee beating Alabama and playing the way they played, there was already that feeling, and Kentucky's history in Tennessee prior to 2020, that Kentucky doesn't have much of a chance. That's all. That's Tennessee fans aren't. A few are worried, thinking that don't look ahead of Georgia and overlook Kentucky. But for the most part, they're expecting another Tennessee win over Kentucky like they have for many years. But Kentucky can come down here and hang in. They're a top 20 team, or top 10 at one time, in spite of not playing a complete game yet. But let's see a complete game. Let's them get off to a quick start. Come out this bye week and hit the ground running against those Vols, and we should see what happened. Either way, we're going to be talking about it next Wednesday as well when TB is back. Of course, as y'all know, y'all can follow the show at Cats Talk Wednesday. We got it scrolling there for people that are watching on YouTube or Roku at Vinny Hardy, Vinny with a Y, Hardy with a Y on Twitter. TB with his Jerry Rice Twitter handle, T-Brown_80, as y'all know as well. We'll get some promos and commercials in because we've had a lot of guests on these past few episodes and hadn't got some of the promos in for the BS3 network that we're proud to be a part of. And a couple commercials about some of the podcasts, more commercials that are podcast specific. We'll get a couple of those in as well in this quick episode that we're doing of Cats Talk Wednesday. Speaking of guests, last week we had Larry Kirksey on, of course, from Harlan, Kentucky, from the other end of the county, from where I'm from. I'm from Lynch. He grew up in Harlan. But it was an honor to talk about his long career in college coaching as well as an NFL coach and all the great receivers he's coached, running backs and great players he's coached throughout his time, the various different stops that he's made along throughout his career. One of his players reached out and made sure to tell me to tell him hello. This man, Keith Bethea, played for Larry Kirksey on that 1977 10-1 Kentucky team. Keith is from New Jersey, up there from where Art Still is from. So Frank Kirksey had a little northeastern pipeline with some guys coming out of New Jersey. Keith Bethea saw our interview with Larry Kirksey and just wanted to make sure that we knew kind of the impact that Larry Kirksey had on him. He went out of his way to talk about what a great man Larry was, or Larry is, and the respect and admiration was still there after 4 decades removed from playing and being coached by Larry Kirksey. Still has nothing but gratitude for the impact that Larry had upon him. So I've messaged Larry and told him that Keith said hello, and Larry was like, "Yeah, definitely tell him." He was excited to hear that, and definitely tell him that hello as well, and send the greetings from Larry back to Keith. So that was cool. And Keith, if you and some of you guys, your teammates, want to hop on here with us, y'all are more than welcome. I told you that in the message, and I'll say it here as well. Some of those stories from the 77 team, Fran Kersey, and all those great players that you played with. We'll get a little promo in for the BS3 network right here in this quick episode. And let y'all once again know BS3TVLive.com, BS3Network.com. Here's just a sample of all the things you get to enjoy, all the podcasts you can check out and watch when you check out the network.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Four 884-0120. You can get a BS3 Network a call. If you'd like to advertise your business or product on our show, we'd be happy to promote it. Just give them a call and work out an affordable way to advertise your business or product here on Cats Talk Wednesday. You get it out to the audio listeners on Anchor and Spreaker. Get it out to the video viewers on YouTube and Roku. We love to promote your product or business here on the show. We'll switch to NFL real quick. This is the Take 2 episode because the first episode had some audio technical difficulties. But y'all know I'm a Cowboys fan. We talked Cowboys the other day when Ben Sutterth and Ivan Dawkins were on with us. Courtney Harden, who was on a few weeks ago, real deal. Courtney Harden is a huge Eagles fan. He's a Philly guy. And look, the Eagles just getting on my nerves, man. Look, they're undefeated. Give them credit. They beat the Cowboys. Give them credit. They beat the Cowboys with Cooper Rush, who kind of had the clock strike midnight on him on that game in Philadelphia. Now, he held it down, went 4-1 while Dak Prescott was out. We appreciate you for doing that, Cooper. Dak comes back. The Cowboys beat the Lions 24-6. The defense continues to do what they do and squashing and smothering opponents. And they let the offense kind of get together and pull away in the second half for the 24-6 victory. Got the Bears coming in off a win against the Patriots on Monday night. Defense need to continue to do what you do. Bring Justin Fields and them back down to earth. See Dak continue to find the groove with the offense. Get yourself another victory. Got a showdown with the Eagles coming up in Dallas with our starting quarterback back. And we're going to see what happens in round 2. But the Eagles are on my nerves because they did trade for Robert Quinn, which is, I think, a great move. Veteran, savvy pass rusher to bolster their defense. And, it just gets on my nerves when they make smart decisions. And I hate to see that trade go down. You got the young fella Jordan Davis, who we saw as Kentucky fans on the regular at Georgia. And now as Cowboy fans got to deal with him as he gets the torch passed to him from Fletcher Cox. And he is already contributing to that team. And he's looking to continue to do so for years to come. But, the Eagles, you're on my nerves. Y'all stay on my nerves anyway. And now you're on my nerves for this, I think, shrewd, sound addition to your defense via trade by acquiring one Robert Quinn for your squad. Enough talk about them. That's as much of a compliment you're going to get from me. Moving on to Terry's Lakers real quick, because y'all know he bleeds, purple and gold. Man. And, of course, we'll talk about it when he comes back, but did he expect him to be this sorry? The roster construction would lead you to believe that they wasn't going to be shooting very well, but did he expect this many bricks? These fellas are just knocking the paint off of the rim every time they attempt a jumper. I don't know if he was expecting that. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. We shall see, but I'm going to get my little digs in while he ain't here. And with Will Smith coming to talk to him about adversity and being at the facility, talking about how to deal with stuff and make it through hard times. That was comical, and Twitter's having fun with that. But Will was at the facility taking a picture with the team and hanging out with Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka and all that. So, okay, Laker Nation, y'all do y'all. But I'm enjoying the suffering, as are a lot of fans of other NBA teams. Nobody's going to be feeling sorry for the struggling Lakers. No sympathy from me at all. Let's see. Eagles on my nerves. Keith Bethea, blue-white game. Cameron Mills, friend of the show, former UK Wildcat, member of the 96 and 98 NCAA championship teams. We, TB and I, have been doing this show, as your longtime listeners know, about a year and a half before we'd ever met face-to-face, doing it on the old school blog talk. Me on one line, TB on the other line. Cameron was one of the first guests that we had, guests of note that we had hop on the show. And the first time TB and I met face-to-face was when Cameron, he had a radio show of his own there in Lexington, had a website that Terry and I both wrote for. We met there at the 6:30 a.m. WLAP studios in Lexington. Sometimes we tweet out those old pictures, but we met there for the first time as guests on Cameron's show. We had been doing what we do on here, and then Cameron was nice enough to bring us on and let us do what we do on his show several years ago. But Cameron is now part of the UK Sports Network broadcast. On the pregame show with Buzz Baker, there with Tom Leach and Goose Givens. So it's cool hearing him give his insights there on the blue-white game. Looking forward to hearing him throughout the season. My question now is, when the state tournament comes around for high school basketball, Cameron is always doing the Sweet 16 games. Now, who are they going to get to replace him if Cameron is now on the UK Sports Network doing probably the SEC tournament and NCAA tournaments? Somebody will have to fill Cameron's shoes for the Sweet 16. Be interesting to see how that plays out. But congratulations, Cam, man. It was cool to hear you this past weekend at the blue-white game. So keep up the good work, man. Go get you another promo in here. We talked about Ivan Dawkins before, and he does a podcast with his sisters, Queen 3 and King. And now we have a podcast-specific commercial promo for that. So we'll get that played before we wrap up this quick episode of Cats Talk Wednesday.
Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
y'all have heard Ivan on here with us a couple different times. We had him on here by himself one time, then had him on here the other day with him and Ben Sutter together. Got some Cowboys talk in. He was a smart, funny dude. You heard him, and now he's on a podcast with his 3 sisters, 3 of them doing what they do on a weekly basis. Queen 3 and King every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central. So y'all be sure to check them out. We got plenty of episodes on demand as well at bs3tvlive.com, bs3network.com. Hit on demand and go scroll down and find us. We got last week's episode with Larry Kirksey. This one will be up there pretty quick as well. Roy Wood Jr., Greg Warren. We had both those comedians on a few weeks ago. Anna Tarullo from BBN Tonight. Check it all out. It's all there. We appreciate everybody that takes the time to check us out as well. We're going to put a bow on this episode. It's a quick one, like I said. We'll come back next Wednesday hoping for a win over Tennessee. More Lakers struggles. Maybe some Eagles struggles. That's just me being petty, but I can hope for all that. Ain't no problem being petty. It comes to sports as well. Follow the show at Cats Talk Wednesday. For my man Terry TV Brown, this is Vinny Hardy. I'm going to attempt to hit the right button for the outro that says thanks for watching, because we appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see y'all next week.